All right, we'll start here in a little bit here. I'm just a little finish my little sipper waiting for you, man. All right, are you recording over there?
Yeah, the audio is recording, yeah.
The video, man. Click record, guy.
Oh yeah, it's recording. Don't worry, I'm about to upgrade my setup here soon.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode, Beer Fish Fanatics. This is Grandy with Ma Pop Fishing, and we have
Kit with the YouTube channel Fishing Kit.
there you guys go. And as you guys heard, so he's upgrading, I guess, huh? You upgrading over there? What are you upgrading? Your whole setup?
Well, I got a DSLR that has HDMI out. So I'm going to basically use the DSLR as a webcam to do these zooms, so the quality should be a lot better.
Oh, there.
So none of this cell phone video.
See, that's all right, man. Hey, it's worked so far. I mean, we got maybe like 3, followers, listeners, and watchers. It's all good, man. Those 3 people who ever been watching, they appreciate it. It's all good, right? It's good content. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, it's always nice to step it up a little bit, though.
I hear you. All right, man. So this week, we're social distancing again. Obviously, I'm going to be doing the beer this week. How do you pronounce this again?
I'll let you say it first.
No, man.
I want to say it's a Lagunitas.
Lagunitas. God, I can't figure it out. Okay, Lagunitas IPA, Indian Pale Ale. It's a brewery out there in Petaluma, California, and Chicago, Illinois now too. So I've had this, I think, once or twice before. So, well, we'll give it a shot. What you got there, man?
I got another Iowa. Well, if you can tell it's from Iowa, the beer is called Aloha, Iowa. So it's not really a Hawaiian thing, but it's from Kalona, Iowa. Kalona Brewing Company. It's a pineapple Belgian style ale.
I don't know if I've had that one. Let me know how it goes, man, because if it's good, then I'll definitely give it a shot. So, all right, cheers, man. I got the, so everybody can see if you're watching on YouTube, I got the Beer Fish Fanatic mug. You guys ever want to help us out a little bit here and, provide us with some chump change for beer in the future, go to mypopfishing.com. Get yourself a mug. Cheers, man. Oh, yeah, that's nice and hoppy. I don't know if anybody's ever had that. Lagunitas, right? Lagunitas.
Yeah.
See, I think I was definitely pronouncing it incorrectly previously. So, but no, it's a good beer. So if you're into IPAs, it's pretty hoppy. It's pretty clean, actually. It's really smooth. Doesn't have a super bitter aftertaste. Sometimes I think a lot of people, what they don't realize is I think certain beers, when you drink, like you had that dry mouth because it's dry. That's what they call it, the dry hops or whatever. And if you get a beer that has that, that's why people are like, bah, what's that after? It's not an aftertaste. It's just super dry. All of a sudden your mouth gets, and that's what that does. So.
Yeah, my beer is pretty easy going, but it's like 6.3%, which is like 2% more than Bud Light.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, 6.3.
Yeah, man, you're going hardcore. Mine's only 6.2. So, I don't know, because a lot of people they're always wondering, like you were saying, Bud Lights and like Coors Light, all those domestic beers, they're about 4.2, I believe. So that's the normal alcohol rate that goes for those light beers, and a lot of craft beers, obviously a little bit higher, depending. It all depends, but like I said, more sugar, more calories. So just FYI on that one. Sorry this week. So if anybody's watching or listening, we don't have a superstar guest like we did last week or whatever previously with Jay Siemens there. So it was pretty cool. Good knowledge and everything we learned on that. I learned a lot, man. So actually, I think I learned more about fishing with you and our guest than I ever had in my whole lifetime. Literally. I mean, just doing these podcasts. I mean, just little tidbits that, a lot of people, I hope I don't think I'm the only one, because I actually had people like I said, they either message or say something like they never knew about that, and they learned pretty good stuff too. So that kind of leads to the segue now that I want to learn more, because I know right now, Central Iowa, it's getting chilly, at least the past couple of days, man. It's literally, what was it, about 90, about in the 90s, maybe about 3 or 4 days ago. And like, I think in the past 2 or 3 days, it's gotten down to the 50s now. I think today's going to be in the 50s. So it's like fall's coming, right?
Yeah, it was 95 on Sunday, and then on Monday it was like 50 something.
Yeah. So, I mean, in your experience, how does that affect the bite instantly? Because technically we're still we're still in summer, but then all of a sudden you had a huge like I mean that's like you said, it's like a 30-40 degree change. I mean, have you ever fished like right after, and how do you normally do after something like that? Or
Um, I think with a big change like that, I think it turns the fish off because fish don't like huge dramatic changes like that. I think it just takes them a few days to get used to the change, and then they'll start eating again.
Gotcha. So I think what you were saying, because I think we talked, I think a couple of years ago, you were telling me that like after a huge cold front, just like what we just literally just had, like you said, give them a day or two for the fish to, what's that word? Accumulate to the cold, right?
Climatize,
What is it?
climatize,
Is it climate? I don't know, man.
or acclimate.
Yeah.
One of those two.
Yeah, one of those two words. But like you said though, because if it gets all of a sudden super cold, the water temperature, everything drops instantly. So it kind of changes the way the way they move and feed and everything. So I think you're right. I think give it like a couple of days to kind of, get used to the weather in a sense. But
Yeah, but
I think, we were talking, I think we went fishing, and Kit here, we went fishing on, so was it Sunday? I think, yeah, we went on Sunday or Saturday? Saturday or Sunday. We went out and didn't do too well. We didn't get skunked. I caught that nice smallie, you caught a nice crappie. But other than that, because we were catfishing, so I guess we did get skunked in the sense we didn't catch any catfish, right?
I think if we fished that morning, I think we would have been good as the system was moving through. That's usually a good time to fish. Just as the system was moving through, like by the time I think we got out there, it was like 20-mile-per-hour winds, and yeah, the cold. The system was already moving through. But if you fish like as it happens, that's usually a good time.
Yeah, I think you're from previous experience. I think you're right on that. Like if a storm is coming, if you literally get there right before the storm, like literally, like you're saying, before that whole front comes through, it seems like the fish knows they
Yeah.
know that it's coming in a way. So, and they start feeding real kind of hectically, and they move pretty ferociously. Actually, I think you're right. So if you get an opportunity, don't be afraid. If you see a little rain coming through, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes that actually gets the fish going. If you fish right before rain, literally like hours right before rain and during the rain, actually, I think I've actually had some good results from that. But as we know, it's getting colder, man. So fall's coming, and I think a lot of people are priming up for the fall bite for crappies, bass, all walleyes, everything. What do you recommend right now to prepare for we'll start with crappies. I love crappies, best fish to eat in my opinion, at least for me. How would you, as the fall bite's about to kick up, how do you prepare for it? Where do you start targeting, I guess, location wise?
Like I want to just say just go fish, but that doesn't really inform anybody of anything.
I'm assuming during the fall, because I don't know too well. I think I hear they get shallower. They come shallow right before winter, in a sense, before the ice begins, right?
I think so, yeah. Because like in the summer, they kind of push out into deeper water, and as the water cools down, I think it must like kickstart something in their system or something. It's like, oh, fall's coming, better start eating.
Mm-hmm. So it's like right before hibernation, almost in a way, right? Because winter's coming, they feed shallow, and then before they go deep, because it always feels like because during ice season we ice fish a lot. They're always normally the deepest spot of the lake. So I'm guessing, because they don't spawn right in the fall, because they spawn in the spring, right?
Well, crappies, yeah, springtime.
So then it's the fall feeding or something, right? I don't know. Is there like a specific word for that? I don't know, man. Whoever's listening to this, see if you guys can fact check us on that. I don't know what you call it, because like you're saying, I think they spawn during the spring, but then during the fall, is it a fall feeding, or what do you call it?
Yeah, well, they know winter's coming, so and food is like more scarce during the winter time, and everything just slows down. So
Anything you use in particular that you find success, whether it's minnows, plastics, spoons? I mean, obviously, when you go out, try them all. Obviously, whatever works, works. But do you feel during fall season what works best for you?
I don't really use spoons for crappies because I feel like with spoons, unless you're vertical jigging, you gotta fish spoons faster. And I like with crappie, I just like using jigs, like 1/32 ounce, maybe 1/16 ounce, little what, 2 inch grubs or whatever, 2 inch like 2 inch soft baits, minnows. Minnows always work.
Minnow bobber.
Minnow bobber or jig and minnow.
So when you put a jig in a minnow, are you just reeling it fast? Or are you letting it sink to the bottom? Or because the reason I ask that because does like okay, so during the fall, do crappies stay closer to the bottom or are they more suspended?
I think it just depends on the day.
So
Depends on like the conditions. Like if it's bright and sunny, I can't say with like 100% confidence, but if it's like sunny out, they're not going to be up shallow, they're going to be out a little bit deeper. But if it's like overcast or as the sun's getting lower to the horizon, they'll push up a little bit more shallow. And then you just fish a jig and minnow just like, a jig and a piece of plastic.
is there a specific way you hook jig? Or I mean,
A jig?
the jig the minnow. How do you hook it on the tail end, the lip, the dorsal fin of the minnow?
Well, if you're going to be jigging a minnow, if you hook it through the tail, it's not going to be very hydrodynamic. So you want to hook it like through the eyes, through the lips. Like some people hook it like through the nose or whatever. Mm-hmm. That way, it's just basically gliding through the water. If you hook it through the tail, it's going to be like going against the current, and then it isn't going to be very, it isn't going to flow through the water very nicely.
That was like a dumb question because that was pretty. I mean, hey, I don't know, man. Hey, it's what I guarantee it. Somebody else is probably like, shit, I didn't think about that either. But now when you say it like that, it's like, duh. In a way, like, yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, I'll have to try that because I usually don't have luck with live bait as much, but maybe it's because I just don't try it as often. I don't know. Something in the back of my mind makes me feel like I think it's confidence, man. Do you think that's a big thing when it comes to fishing? Like confidence, like sometimes I just don't have confidence in specific lures or techniques, then I just stop doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think confidence has a big thing to do with it because if you're not confident in a lure or a bait, you're not going to give it, you're not going to be patient with that bait. So like if you try something new, you're not going to keep it on there for half an hour. But if it's something you're confident in, and you'll keep it on because you're like, oh, I know this bait, I caught fish on it before, so you keep giving it a chance pretty much. But if it's like something you're not confident in or something you don't use very much, like, oh, I never catch anything with this anyway, it's been like 10 minutes, haven't caught anything, I'm just gonna switch out to what I know.
You're right, because I would give, like, if I don't have confidence in my technique or specific lure, I think I give up on it after maybe 10 casts. But if it's something that I use all the time or that I've caught fish previously, even though I'm not going to catch anything right now, I'll probably throw it for 15, 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think you're right. Just definitely confidence makes but also I think, like you said, experiment new things and give it a shot. It doesn't hurt. So I think that's obviously gives you an opportunity to learn different techniques and everything. So that's the crappies. So this year I haven't really caught many walleyes, open water, and wipers. As fall's coming, is there a specific way you fish them, or how do you target them more?
I target them just like I do in the spring. I mean, it depends how late into the fall it is. Like if we're pushing late fall, I fish it like how I would do early spring because the water's cooler, everything's slowing down. So you just want to slow down your presentation, maybe downsize. Like you can't be, I'm sure you can be throwing some big old aggressive bait, but I would just slow everything down. Just like early spring, you don't want to go out there throwing big obnoxious lures. I guess you could. Not saying you won't catch fish on it. That's like just swinging for the fences at that point.
But from your experience, so slow the presentation down. Obviously, with walleyes, fish closer to the bottom. I still, you know what? I think a couple episodes ago, you gave me that was a great tip. Like you fish closest to the bottom without actually hitting the bottom, so you don't snag. So you have to figure out the weights of the actual jig head. Because I never, like I said, I never thought about that one. That was a great tip. So if people don't or didn't hear that episode, but because I asked you like, okay, what size jig head do you normally use? And you said depends on the situation. It didn't make sense to me. I just I go out there, just put whatever jig head, right, and weight whatever. But it made sense because it goes sometimes the current's a little faster or a little slower. So then if you want to get to the bottom, you can either use a heavier jig head or not. So you have to kind of play around with how close you can get to the bottom. So I think I actually put that to use, man, in regards to how I fish now. No, seriously, because it makes a difference. Because okay, if I'm on the bottom, I'm going to freaking snag more. So I might have to use a little bit lighter weight because there's not as much current. But then if there's a lot of current, use a little bit heavier weight. So, I mean, to me, that's something as someone who's novice or beginner like me, that's crucial information to help catch more fish and not snag as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Try to put on the heaviest lure you can get away with without getting hung up on the bottom.
Yeah. And then do you still use, I think for walleyes and everything, at least for previously, I used during the fall season, I used brighter colors. I don't know if that makes a difference or that just could be a mental thing, whether it's like super pinkish, chartreuse pink, or, that super purple, chartreuse, just brighter colors, I guess. I don't know if you've done that or do you think that works at all?
I throw whatever looks like a shad.
See, that's the thing. I was talking to a couple people and I was just like, the reason why I chose the colors for the lures that I carry at Mop Pop Fishing because I talked to you and you're like, you know what? Choose whatever color that it's in the waters, right? The fish, the bait fish.
It does help to like use some of the more exotic colors, like if the water's like murky or dark or whatever. But can't go wrong with shad color.
I think you're right.
Because a lot of the bait fish, they're like white, silverish color. Can't go wrong with that. I don't get caught up in like too many colors. Like I used to like try to buy like those super flukes that I use. I used to buy like six different colors, but now it's like white, a little bit gray, and then a little bit darker gray. That's about it. Like three different variations. Basically, it still kind of looks like a shad, but if it's a little bit darker, has like a little bit more black or something, I would use that for like murky water.
And just so everybody knows, because we fish lakes and rivers that has primarily shad and everything, so or minnows or whatnot. So I think like you're saying, just mimic those. I think, what I've been starting to do, I'm going to get you on this next year. So everybody hears this. Next year, I'm going to get Fishing Kit here onto more largemouth bass. He needs to go largemouth bass fish. This year, I know, but this year I'll give it to you because just so everybody knows, if you go to his channel, check it out. He's been attacking and really targeting, a new species, the blue catfish, which was awesome. I mean, you guys got to check out his newest episode and everything. It's cool to see you go after new species and kind of learn different techniques on how you do stuff. So, but next year, because everybody, they love largemouth bass. We have an abundance here, but we don't really ever target them for whatever reason. I think the biggest reason is because we don't consume them. You know what I mean? Because crappies, we all consume. In regards to walleyes, wipers, white bass, we actually consume it. We have dishes like specifically designed for them in catfish. You know what I mean? But largemouth, we don't consume. So I think if it feels like, why go after something that you're not going to eat, right? I think that's kind of in the back of our head in a way.
Kind of. I mean, like, talk about that new species I've been targeting, the blue catfish. I mean, I've only eaten one, but I've probably caught like 30 since I started.
Must be nice. But okay, so we'll do this. Next year, I'll go after catfish with or blue cats. That is, I at least got to go at least once. I don't know if I'm gonna have any time this year, but next year at least I want to go with you one time to target them down south.
We need to get you on regular channel catfish first.
Well, I've caught regular channels. I not
Not on the
consistently.
kayak. The kayak. Talking about on the kayak.
I've caught. I think I've actually caught one, and that was like 40 years ago. So I don't even remember what it is. You're right, to catch a channel catfish off the kayak. But I would love to. But next year, I definitely want to go after the blues, and then I want you to go with me or go with somebody else, and we're gonna go after the largemouth bass. So because you're gonna. See, there you go.
I got a worm right here on my desk.
It works. So hopefully next year we'll open water seasons wise, we'll go after those a little bit more. I mean, we might have some more time this year. We'll see, depending on the weather and everything. But I think it's going to be fall bite here pretty quickly soon. So we'll see how that goes.
I know what people. Do you think people would love eating a catch and cook largemouth bass?
Man, you're gonna have 50% thumbs up and 50% thumbs down. How's that? I guarantee it. I mean, whoever's watching this, you guys can even comment or text or message me and Kit. But if you did a catch and cook with a largemouth, I could literally see 50% thumbs up, like it, and 50% thumbs down. You can do it if you want. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let you know that. But it's just, you know what? At the end of the day, it's just a fish. I mean, if you consume it and if it's of legal rights, as long as you're within, legality, I mean, you can do it. But it's just weird. Like I said, it's weird to us. We've just been taught I never consumed it. So, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't really fish for them because this is going to be a bit controversial, but I've always thought they were kind of overrated, and that's why I don't fish for them. But I'll give them a chance. I gave them a few shakes this year, and I'll try to get more serious with it next year. Maybe I'll go out 3 times next year.
So, all right. So everybody heard that. Number 1, Fishing Kit said largemouth bass is overrated, and then number 2, he still says he's going to target them more often because people just love them for it's whatever, certain different species, and we got to travel more. I think you know what? So just everybody here. So we're going to take this podcast on the road. I think we should, you know what I mean? When we take whatever trips, we'll take it. So to kind of tell everybody what's going on, what we're doing, we're going to do something different because so many podcasts in the world stays in one spot or just does the same stuff over and over. I think for us to make this entertaining and on top of that informative, because you know what? In a couple of weeks here, Kit and I, we're going to go down to Kansas. So just so everybody knows, I wish it was Milford to go for blue cats, but we're not. We're going to go to a different lake and we're going to target some other kind of species, whether it's, white bass, crappies, but we may just do an episode down there. So at least to kind of give you guys something new, something different, let you know how we're doing, how I am watching him catch fish and I am cooking and eating it type of deal. So, well, maybe not cooking, eating it for sure. But other than that, man, I just, like I said, this episode, I just really wanted to learn a little bit how you attack as fall's coming up, and hopefully you gave me a couple tips there so I can catch maybe 1 or 2 more fish here coming soon.
Just fish it like the spring.
I like that. Fish it like fall, fish it like the spring. So anybody listening to obviously all the way to this part, wise words from Fishing Kit. Fish like it's spring.
Yeah, I know I was thinking about it real hard earlier, but don't think about it that hard.
I think about it way too hard, and he said, "Dude, just fish, man." So, thank you, sir. You've increased my knowledge and fishing skills tenfold, man. So, so other than that, man. So, anybody, like I said, go check out Fishing Kit's channel. He has some pretty cool videos up, and he's been cooking a lot, so you guys learn some new recipes from him. He's going to be having some more recipes coming up, so you guys got to check out his channel. Follow us on our Instagram. Follow us on our Facebook and everything. Subscribe here because I don't know. I see a lot of people watching, Not a lot of people subscribing. Don't know what's up with that. I mean, it's just, I get it. It's just a podcast. You can listen to it. So they listen to it, on your sound, the other one. But subscribe, like, comment, so at least we know what topics to talk about besides, well, we're always going to talk about beer. So other than that, till next time, guys, have a good week.
All right, see ya.